The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Hello, Lobo fans, and welcome into your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with head men's basketball coach at UNM, Richard Pitino. It's our first Hoops Coaches Show for 2021-2022. Coach Pitino, great to be with you.
Great to be here as well. I appreciate it. Happy holidays. It's a fun time of year. It's been just weird with a little bit of a pause, obviously, with not being able to play Colorado State. It was great to give them some time off over the holidays, but we got to get back to playing some games. So excited to get back to the pit.
Excited to get back to the pit. The Lobos have a week before their conference opener against Nevada, which we'll get into in depth, and then their first home game in league play as you get set to take on Utah State. Before we get into the Nevada contest, I wanted to ask about the non-conference schedule as a whole. The team went 7-6, and sort of your thoughts on your first 13 games as a Lobo head coach.
Well, I think when you're rebuilding a program, and that's what we're doing, and we have to understand that there's so many things that go into it. Building a roster, very, very important. Understanding what you have and then getting it better and adding to it, obviously important. But also building your schedule that's good for your team, but also good for your fan base. And it was probably a little bit harder than I would have wanted it to be after such a rebuilding job. But I just feel like there's a lot of unique elements right now. Coming out of COVID, somewhat. We're still kind of in it, obviously. But we got to get our fans back to the pit. We want to do it, obviously, safely. But we added the SMU game, which we're not quite ready to beat an SMU team that's probably picked to win the AAC. We go in Vegas, and UAB's picked to win their league. Towson's picked to win their league. So they're not excuses by any means. We've been challenged for sure. But it's made us better, and it'll make us better. We've had some fun crowds. In Mexico State crowd, obviously, was amazing at the pit. You just see how special it can be when it comes back. Obviously, a great win on the road at New Mexico State. So, we've done some good things. Montana State's a good team, but we're young. We're inexperienced. We've obviously had a little bit of roster change that has added to some front court instability that, as difficult as it is, it's a unique opportunity for Sebastian and E-Man, as well as an understanding that we got to go recruit some more big guys.
A really challenging non-conference schedule. It closed with a home win against another experienced team, Norfolk State. And I wanted to ask about that because it seemed like a theme. We would talk about each game and you'd say, we're really young, we haven't been together very long at all, and we're playing a lot of these sometimes bigger and stronger, more mature, more physical, and very experienced teams.
Yeah, it always seems to bother fans and media when you say that you're young, but it's just the reality. We're one of the youngest, most inexperienced teams in the country, and it is what it is. And if we take advantage of every opportunity to grow and get better, we'll be fine in the end, but we've got to stay the course. Our goal is when we're playing, and even if you're playing some schools that maybe teams haven't heard of, we want to play teams that are picked in the top 2 or 3 of their conference. Like Norfolk State was in the NCAA tournament last year, won a game with a lot of guys back. FAU had a lot of guys back. Montana State had everybody back. So although it may not be this big name on the schedule, we know we're going to be tested. 7-6 in the non-conference. I don't know if that's, hitting it out of the park by any means, but we've got some good quality wins, and these young guys got a lot of really good experience from some older guys. And you learn. When you play older teams, you learn a lot.
Speaking of those young guys on the roster, there was definitely a plan in the way the roster was built, right? I mean, you didn't want to bring in graduate transfers and end up in a situation where you're rebuilding a roster every year. You wanted a roster that you could retain guys.
Yes. Now, there is a plan for sure, but to put together a roster and add 9 players or whatever it was that we added in the middle of a pandemic when you're not allowed to go recruiting is very, very challenging. We got the job and 4 guys left over. That's about 80% of your roster. And you're now set out to, okay, how do we put together a team when you're not allowed to go recruiting? Well, you got to do it off of film, and that's hard. And I don't think we made a lot of mistakes by any means, but we wanted to be young and grow. We didn't want to fifth-year senior here, and then rebuild again. Like, we know what the plan is. The plan is to rebuild. The plan is to set the foundation. It's like we all know when you're building a house, right? And I'm not a very good handyman, but you know, the key to the whole thing is building the right foundation. And then understanding as you go through the wars of a year, and we're not even, you know, we're one game into the conference season, but seeing, okay, what we have here, okay, we need to add over there. And that's why that first year and even that second, even third year is challenging because you just don't know what you have. The group is young. They work their butts off. They're coachable. They've been through a lot of adversity for a young team, you know, but I really enjoy being around them on a daily basis, and they're going to get better and better and better.
Coach Pitino mentioned at the start of the show the extra break the Lobos had before starting conference play, sort of one little extra hurdle that you had. You had hoped that it would just be a week from the 21st to the 28th between the end of non-conference and starting against CSU. Then you got 4 extra days because of COVID. How did you handle that?
Well, everybody's unfortunately dealing with disruption right now in our world. You know, I feel insensitive when I talk about it because everybody's dealing with it, whether it's your kid's school, it's work, people getting sick, all those things, travel. It's very, very challenging. But we had gotten word before that Norfolk State game, and you know, we had played Norfolk State, I believe, on the 21st. We're going to let them go the 22nd, come back Christmas night. That Colorado State could be canceled or postponed. At the time, it was canceled and forfeit. So, hey, we got to win versus Colorado State. But, you know, we adjusted a little bit. We let them come back on the 27th, give them a little extra break, which is great for everybody. But it's a long break. It really is. And we had hoped to maybe add a game midweek. But we weren't able to do that just because we're trying to reschedule that Colorado State game. But it was good to get back on the court. I mean, the game, you learn so much from these games with these young teams. I mean, practices this time of year they're great for the coaches, but they can be a little bit monotonous for the players. The players love the game. So another week off is a little much. We got to get creative to keep their attention, but we also got to get better.
All right, finally, before we get to our first break, you did have that nice little patch of time after Christmas to get ready for January 1st conference opener. How did you use the time, and how did the guys look getting back into shape?
Yeah, I thought they looked good. I mean, we played a terrific first half. I mean, even coming back and cutting it to 6 several times in the second half, like, you know, I thought we were okay. I mean, it's offensively we weren't very good, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but they understood, like, okay, we're out of shape. We need to use this practice time to get back. So they were good there. I mean, it's whenever you have 4 days to practice, you've got to be intelligent with how you use it because you don't want to wear them out too much. You want to keep them fresh mentally and physically. The prep was really good. I mean, we were ready to guard their stuff. We understood the game plan. We just offensively let it get away, and Nevada made us pay for it.
All right, the Lobos open in Reno against Nevada, the team that was picked 3rd in the conference by the media preseason. We look at first half highlights next. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back on your Lobo Coaches Show with the head men's basketball coach at UNM, Richard Pitino. And Coach Pitino, before we get into first half highlights of your game against Nevada, one of the pieces, the backdrop to your conference opener was just a terrible accident, a car accident involving your former player, Jethro Muscadin, who is no longer on the team, but hadn't been away from the school for but just a few short days. And so his closeness to your team and the way that impacted them, and of course our prayers, our thoughts with Muscadin and everyone close to him for a recovery. But it's a tough go right now for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you know, he's fighting for his life, and it's not good. And I think it's really hard to kind of explain to people because everybody looks at he's on your team or he's not on your team. And we have so much turnover, whether it's players and staff, especially in sports in today's culture. Just because you're not on our team anymore doesn't mean you're not part of our family. And, you know, it was just the day before I was speaking to Jethro about potential better options for him and what he's looking for moving forward. So it's not one of those deals. You're kicked off the team, you're done, we're not dealing with you. Like, that's not the way it works. We've had some tough conversations over the last couple of days with his sister, his AAU coach, his high school coach, his uncle. he's still part of our family, even though he was moving on. And our players are deeply affected by it. They really are, and we all are. I've had many nights where tears have been flowing just because to see somebody like that who's, you see him a couple days ago and now he's fighting for his life. So praying for him, praying for a miracle, and that's what we need, a miracle. He's a part of our family, although he was going to move on. And the program is certainly rocked by it. I mean, that's a lot of adversity for a lot of young people.
We're all praying for Jethro Musketen. Okay, let's get into first half highlights. The Lobos in Reno to open conference play against the Nevada Wolfpack. So at the start of the game here, they start to go inside pretty quickly and get their 2 7-footers going.
Yeah, I mean, clearly a weakness for us right now, roster-wise. I mean, when we were, as you say, constructing the roster, we thought Valdir Manuel would be the experienced one. Obviously didn't work out. Jethro would be your potential one, and obviously we're now dropped down to our 3rd and 4th options at the front court, and teams are going to make us pay for it. It's a great opportunity for Sebastian to learn, and it's a great opportunity for E-Man to get some good reps as well. I mean, offensively, when we ran our stuff and we trusted it, good things happen. Bad things happen when we tried to play isolation basketball without moving the ball, which was just obviously no good.
Saquon Singleton, a great first half. We saw him make a 3, nice cut to the rim on an inbound, get a layup. You guys, after they scored the first 4 points of the game, responded really well and played very good basketball early, didn't you?
We did a lot of good things. We were up for most of the first half, obviously. Leading the break, we were up 1. We broke down. We couldn't sustain offensive discipline for 40 minutes. It's hard to win on the road. It's hard to keep moving the ball, and it burnt us in the end. We obviously are struggling with a low post presence. We don't have one, so we can't get those easy baskets. We'll work on this and continue to develop Sebastian and E-Man down there. But we got to get better shots, got to get better movement and trust in the offense instead of taking tough ones.
What did you guys do so well in this stretch here where you actually opened up a 9-point first half lead?
Played it, off of 2 feet. Moved the basketball, didn't try to do it all ourselves. And then if you're playing well offensively, you're keeping them out of the break. You see a turnover right here. This is where you score. This is where the high percentage shots are. And we had too many turnovers. I mean, it was second most of the season, and that's why they were able to create that lead. And then, we obviously fought back, but it was just too hard. Turnovers and offensive rebounds really hurt us.
Here's Washington, 3 different chances here on the putback to get it to go. It's going to end up being a Lobo lead of 1 point at the break. Nevada was able to come back from that 9-point deficit and close it down here before the end of the first half.
Yeah, just a lack of discipline by Saquon Singleton there. We're not trapping a guy underneath the backboard. We give an easy basket. Now you see just, we want to attack the rim. It's our highest percentage shot. Get a little bit of movement. We could still get more movement in it. So we'll work on the offensive side of just trusting each other a lot better than we did when it broke down this week in practice.
Jalen House taking a charge there. Singleton was such a great playmaker for you in this game, in this first half, until the foul trouble. And then how's he doing? We saw that one of their bigs rolled up on his ankle.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet today, but he was pretty banged up, pretty hobbled, so he was very good, but he only played about, 18, 19 minutes. A lot of that was foul trouble, but he was hobbling, so it was hard to really do that. This is just a lack of discipline on House. You can't be spinning on traps. We've got to get more discipline offensively. That's on us as a coaching staff because we got no chance if we don't play disciplined basketball. Up 1 on the road versus a team that's picked top 3 experience, and we're rebuilding, young roster. We've got to embrace that. We kind of get in our heads a little bit, and we've just got to have a better mindset, a team-oriented mindset, more so than an individual mindset during the games.
Okay, we'll take a timeout. We come back with second half highlights. The Lobos up 1 over Nevada at the break. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back on your Lobo Coaches Show with the men's basketball coach at UNM, Richard Pitino. It's time to take a look at second half highlights of the Lobos and Nevada in Reno.
Not a great start right there. Obviously a live ball turnover, we get it back, but we got to be more disciplined. We can't just run offenses if it's 5-on-0. We got to read the defense, screen bodies, But good job by House getting it back, and good job by Saquon. We talked about highest percentage shots at the rim, so good job there.
You've talked about House and his defense. He's a gambler, great anticipation, creates steals that way, but you'd like to see him improve his defense, especially on the ball?
I thought he was much better last game. I really challenged him. He should be a much better defender. Now he can get some steals, he can do some things, but just team defense-wise, he's got to get better, and I thought he took a major step forward last game. But that's a perfect example right there. Like Sherfield, end of clock, player of the year in the conference. You got to hug up, trust your defense behind you. He's got to get more physical. He's just not very physical. He's not big. He's not strong by any means, but he's got to get a little bit stronger in the offseason for sure, but embrace the physicality of the game.
You guys did great work on Sherfield in the first half. No field goals. The 3 and the 2 we just saw in this highlight package, his first 2 field goals of the game.
As I said, I thought we guarded their stuff. I thought the scout was really, really good, but it's hard to play defense when you don't, when you turn the ball over and you don't defensive rebound like you see right there. Too deep of a post touch from, Emmanuel Quach. Giving it up right there, just too easy. But we're disrupting, but then you can't just, it's a simple play. You can't allow that split. Guarded their stuff well, but didn't make the winning plays when we needed to.
We saw E-Man at 6'7", Emmanuel Quach get a shot block on a 7-footer there just a moment ago. You are a bit undersized up front right now, and now we see Sebastian Forsling, the freshman, on the court at the 5 position. It's a tough go up front a little bit.
A tough go, a lot of it. Just the reality of it. You know, you're 2 centers down with Valdir and Jethro of what we had planned for, and it's not like the NBA. It's not, you can't sign 10-day contracts, you can't make trades, so it's going to be difficult at times, but it's going to be great for Sebastian. It's going to be great for E-Man. Even Jordan Arroyo, who wasn't available, we got to look to him a little bit. He was unavailable due to COVID protocols. We're doing this too much. We're volleyball tipping offensive rebounds. We got to do a better job of coming down with those things.
So there's a big 3 by Jamal Mashburn Jr. This is the stretch where you guys get back in the game after they pushed out to that big lead. How did they get the lead, first of all?
Lack of discipline by us, turnovers, not guarding the 3-point line, breaking. It's a 40-minute game. We always talk about that. It's a 40-minute game. The score shouldn't dictate the way that you play. We were up, we were down. The bottom line was it was a 2-possession game with 2 minutes to go, and we totally lost focus, fouling the 3-point shooter, Mash fouls Sherfield. Just things you cannot do. It's hard to win. That's why you got to learn from these experiences.
So we saw Jayon Tovar knock down a 3 there. He had gone 11 straight misses entering this game. Nice to see him hit one. You talked about improving the shot selection. Did you feel like you did that? I know the percentages weren't exactly what you'd like.
No, I thought the shot selection was poor. I thought we're not moving the basketball. We're not playing for each other enough. I don't think they're selfish by any means. I just don't think they're seeing the game. It's like a baseball player working the count, a pitcher. We're not doing that. We're just trying to attack right away. So we got to, as coaching staff, help them, put them in a better position to succeed, to get easier buckets.
We saw the foul when Sherfield was shooting the 3, and then they returned the favor right here and foul Mashburn shooting a 3.
Yeah, and then he misses 1, I believe, makes 2, and gets it to 75-70. And they knocked down some free throws, but we were right there. Listen, I know it was so many ebbs and flows of us being up, then they're up. The bottom line is we lost by 9 on the road to Nevada. We did a lot of good things. We can learn from it. Take the highlights, don't take it personal, and just grow. Keep growing. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. It's like I said before, we're trying to build the foundation to get New Mexico basketball back to where it needs to be. Going to take some time, and there's going to be some rough moments. Stay together, stay the course, trust the process.
Okay, we come back, wrap up Nevada, look ahead to Utah State on your Lobo Coaches Show. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back to close out your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm Robert Portnoy with Lobo men's basketball coach Richard Pitino. And Coach Pitino, overall takeaways, final thoughts on the loss at Nevada to start conference play.
Great first half. Playing on the road with that long of a break, with obviously heavy emotions with Jethro's situation weighing on a lot of guys in this program. I thought we did a lot of good things. it's very evident what we need to get better at, and that's trusting each other offensively. The coaches and myself, obviously, we have to put them in a great position to succeed. You can't do it alone. What we're trying to do, there's a reason why basketball is one of the best sports out there, because it's a team sport. You need everybody. And so we've got to trust each other more, take care of the basketball, obviously. But we were right there with a team that's picked to win the conference, be 2 or 3, and we showed some good moments. So we'll learn from it, move on to play a really, really tough Utah State team.
Yeah, so coming in Saturday, 6 o'clock tip in the pit, Utah State, one of the best players in the conference, and Justin Bean, right?
Terrific player. Different type of situation than what we took over. They have a lot of guys back where we kind of had to start over a little bit. And Utah State was a terrific team last year. So an NCAA tournament team, I believe. Going to be a challenge. We need a great crowd. I know it's been a while since we've been in the pit, obviously, with Colorado State being canceled. School's starting back up, obviously. People are coming back into town. Let's get to the pit Saturday at 6 and make this place back to being one of the toughest places to play, not only in the conference but in the country.
About a half minute to go. You talked about the turnovers against Nevada. An outlier? Because your team's really been pretty good at taking care of the ball.
Not bad. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. We've just got to not try to do it all ourselves. We got to play much better team basketball offensively. But so it's been good over the first 13 games. Got to be better, obviously, versus Nevada and all these teams moving forward.
Coach Pitino, thanks for being with us. We look forward to Saturday and Utah State in the pit.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it. For Chase Christensen, our director, and the coach, Richard Pitino, I'm Rob Portman. So long, everybody. Go Lobos.